Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my childhood's bully cancer treatment? So apparently my former classmate Brad, 26M, has been diagnosed with a rare form of non-Hodgkin lymphoma and his family is raising $50K on GoFundMe to help cover the cost of his treatment. Brad used to treat me like shish tea in high school. He was constantly making fun of my weight and calling me offensive nicknames. I can't say I felt good when I learned about his diagnosis, but I didn't shed any tears either. A few days ago this girl Anna added all of our former classmates to a messenger chat group. She sent us the GoFundMe link and asked us to donate whatever we could, even if it was a small amount. She also said to send a thumbs up after we have donated. Pretty much all of the people in the group donated, except for me. Anna noticed this and tagged me, asking me if I saw her message. That's when I wrote that I don't plan to donate because of the way Brad treated me in high school. Anna and a few other guys said that I was acting like an asshole, that we are grown-ups now and this stuff is the past. I left the group because I didn't want to argue with these people. None of them stood up for me when Brad was bullying me and most of them laughed at his dumb jokes. So am I the asshole here? When did it become okay to call out a person in public for not donating to some cause? That's, to me, the gross behavior here. Was she trying to shame you into donating? Even if he was the nicest guy on the planet, you are in no way obligated to donate money if you don't want to. Not the asshole and yes to just leaving the chat, nobody needs that drama. Not the asshole. Also you do realize Anna is a bully now, right? She chose to call you out individually in a group setting knowing what this kid did to you. She wanted to bully you into donating. Just calling a spade a spade. These people were bullies in high school and are still bullies now. She also said to send a thumbs up after we have donated. Anna is the asshole for this right here. Honey, you're giving these people too much credit, they are also bullies. They're still trying to bully you now. Block and move on. You're better than this. You deserve better than this. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. But in your place I'd have left the group from the beginning. Am I the asshole for not giving my daughter who eloped cash for her honeymoon? My daughter Jane recently eloped with her partner of 5 years. My wife and I were excited when they got engaged to plan a wedding, but she said she didn't want to rush setting a date or planning a wedding. This was understandable to us and we didn't want to rush them either, but we let her know we would contribute a set amount to her wedding when the time came. Then last week she tells me she has an announcement and that they actually eloped together because they decided they didn't want the big event with all the attention on them. This was a little disappointing but we understood. She's never been the type to want to be the spotlight, so while we weren't expecting it, it wasn't the biggest shock in the world. What did feel like a shock is when she assumed we'd just give her that amount of cash straight up. She said they wanted to use it to take a month-long traveling sabbatical, honeymoon. My wife and I told her the money we were prepared to give her was for a family event, not just for her to do as she pleases. If she didn't want a traditionally wedding, that's fine, but we never told her we were just giving her say $15K for the act of getting married. We just didn't want her to have to spend a ton of her own funds on a wedding, and since relatives and family friends would have presumably been there, we were happy to pay for it so she wouldn't have to. 2 of my nieces have gotten married in the last couple years and it's a family event to us. Not just about the 2 people getting married. This has caused a whole thing with her saying we went back on our word to her, but in my mind we never told her otherwise. We did say if she wants a second ceremony, family event to celebrate but wouldn't be an official wedding, we would sponsor that. If she had asked if she eloped or had a tiny wedding if we would give her some of it for a honeymoon, we may have considered it, but it's hard to know because we were never given the request. They just went and did their own thing, which again is fine. Am I the asshole for not just giving her the cash we would have paid? Not the asshole. Your expectations and conditions are entirely reasonable. It was unreasonable for her to assume that she could simply take the cash option here. Not the asshole. Actually, a wedding is about the couple, but it's fair of you to say the event would be so that the family could celebrate the couple. Your daughter is acting entitled. Not the asshole. You and your wife offering to contribute toward wedding expenses in no way means your daughter is somehow entitled to that money if a wedding does not take place. That's just entitlement on your daughter's end. Not the asshole. You said you would help with the wedding, not with the honeymoon. There's a difference in spending so much money for an event a whole lot of people would enjoy than giving it for 2 people only to spend. She didn't spend a penny because she eloped. I'm sure she has all the money for a good honeymoon without you giving her anything. I'd be inclined to wonder if finding out about the money is why she eloped so they could take the trip on your dime. Am I the asshole for not wanting to apologize over and over again for my daughter's upbringing? I, 45F, had my daughter, CJ, now 28F, when I was 17 years old. Her father did not stick around and we really struggled for a bit. Even when I graduated college, I had a bunch of student loan debt as well as juggling rent, food and other expenses. CJ never lacked necessities, but I admit she didn't get a lot of material possessions. I would try to save up as much as possible to make Christmas and birthdays as fun as possible, but she didn't get much else throughout the year and we only went on 2 vacations total in her childhood. We definitely ate a lot of struggle meals and had to move often. We honestly teetered on the poverty line. When CJ was 17, I was finally debt-free, got a promotion at work and was doing much better. I did start to give her things throughout the year. I used my bonus to take her to Disney World, somewhere she always wanted to go but couldn't. It was nice that after years of struggling, I could spoil her a little. She went off to college and in this time, I met my husband, Matthew. We got married and now have 2 kids together, Jack, 5M, and Melissa, 6F. With our combined incomes, we live quite comfortably. I admit, Jack and Melissa have gotten a lot more than CJ did at that age. I've certainly never left her out. She's always invited on our trips, we pay. I get her random gifts throughout the year, birthdays and Christmases are bigger. I'm trying to make it as even as I can, but I know it realistically never will be. CJ first pointed out the discrepancy a couple of years ago. We took the kids to Disney, CJ went with us. I sat CJ down and apologized for her childhood. I said I wish I had been in a better place when she was their age. I know I can never truly make up for it, etc. I said I know it'll take time for her to heal from that. I thought that was it, but since then, CJ has constantly complained whenever her siblings get anything. I'm always super sensitive to her feelings, validate them, etc. But things came to a head recently, on Jack's birthday. Instead of a party, he opted to see the off-Broadway production of Frozen. We, as always, invited CJ to come along, as well as her fiancé. The whole night, she was pouting and seemed upset. I tried talking to her but she brushed it off. We went to dinner after the show. Jack and Melissa were excitedly talking about it. CJ then butted in, "You know what I got for my 5th birthday, Jack? A Barbie from the dollar store." The kids didn't really see the big deal, but the adults at the table understood. I was civil the rest of the meal but later called CJ and told her what she did was unacceptable. I cannot continuously apologize for her upbringing and she can't throw it in my face. I asked if she wanted me to give her siblings less, simply because she did. She said no, but that she can bring it up whenever she wants and she'll continue to do so. I said I was disappointed and hung up. Later, CJ sent me a very long text, telling me I was a horrible mother. Am I the asshole? I understand CJ's position. I can't think of one present I ever received from my parents, not to discredit them because they paid for literally everything in my life. But I always knew they did their best and I have always been grateful. CJ really needs to speak with a therapist and work on her insecurities. I don't get the hint from your post that you neglected her while giving her siblings more. Not the asshole. Not the asshole from info given. She's almost 30 years old and acting like a petulant child. From what you said, you truly did your best to raise her in a healthy and happy home and make sure she felt loved and had fun things from time to time. It sounds like she resents your new family, with husband and younger children, but life goes on and you include her in all these vacations etc. and you did the best you could as a young single mother and built a better financial life over time and with the help of a stable partner. It sounds like CJ needs therapy to work through these issues. She doesn't seem to have any perspective or maturity. Unless there's more to the story. I'm going to go against the grain and say nah. In another comment, you say that CJ is in therapy, which is good for her. I think it would be worth it for you to do family therapy as well. CJ's feelings about her upbringing are clearly different than yours. She's having a hard time dealing with them. On one hand, she's old enough to know better, but on the other hand, it's probably very difficult for her to have those feelings when she's constantly reminded that her siblings have more than she did, in so many ways. They have a father and a mother who are both loving, capable, giving parents. I don't think it's fair to call her an asshole when she's dealing with unresolved trauma. Not the asshole as a child who grew up well below the poverty line. I could resent my mother. But instead, I salute her for grinding. By the time I was graduating college, so was my mother, and she lived a wonderful life after that point. Mama is gone now, RIP. but I never once made feel bad about struggling and affording my brother more than me. Not the asshole. I think your daughter needs to talk to a professional, honestly. She has a lot of built-up resentment, and thinks it's acceptable to lash out to make you feel bad for being more successful now than when she was little. And you have guilt, that probably makes you put up with a lot more than you should. Best of luck to both of you. Am I the asshole for refusing to invite my fiancé's sister to our wedding? My fiancé, 28M, and I, 27F, are getting married next year. His family is Spanish, but all of them speak perfect English. I don't speak Spanish at all. When I visit his family, no one ever switches to English. They all always act like I am not there. They just don't make effort to include me in their conversations at all. I swallowed this for years and I learned to live with it. However, I can't stand how his little sister, 27F, treats me. Here are some examples. 1. When we visit his family, she always asks my fiancé if they can spend time in 2 to have some quality sibling time. Without me. Since I don't know anybody in Spain, it just means that they are going out for a whole day and I just stay alone with their parents, which are ignoring me. I cannot comprehend how people can treat their guests like that. I would never dream to tell my fiancé to stay in a room in my hometown because I need some quality time with my sister. 2. I hate the smell of cigarettes. My nose is sensitive and it just can't stand it. I never have problems with it in public when I smell it, I just move to avoid standing next to a smoker. His sister is a smoker and she knows I hate the smell. She was asked many times to move her smoking elsewhere when I am present, however she always refused. There were times when we were eating a lunch, and she was smoking next to me knowing it disturbs me a lot. When I wanted to leave the table for 5 minutes to wait out the smoke, my fiancé was calling me rude. Also, when I was refusing to sit down next to her, I was apparently being offensive. 3. We were planning a family trip. One day I was talking to my significant other in English, when his sister comes between us and starts talking to my fiancé in Spanish, ignoring my presence completely. He told me that his sister came and asked him to not bring me to that family trip, that it will be better without me, and that I am not welcome there. I felt super disrespectful that someone can stand in front of me and say all these things in other language knowing I wouldn't understand. 4. There were many moments when I was having an English discussion with my fiancé, and his sister was just coming in and interrupting us without even hi towards me. She was just starting speaking in Spanish to my fiancé and I was just standing there, feeling very unwelcome. 5. She advised my fiancé to break up with me many times. She was telling his whole family mean stuff about me. Apparently that I am jealous, toxic, etc. None of it is true. I was very hurt hearing it, but I get it. If she felt like it, she should inform her brother. But not supporting our relationship makes me not want to invite her to our wedding. 6. More subtle stuff but characters limit. So now we are preparing a guest list. I don't want to invite her. I know I won't have a good time on my own wedding if she's there. Things she was doing to me were subtle, but I always felt excluded and bad. Am I the asshole? And #X200B. Edit. I am learning Spanish. My current level is B1. All those situations above happened when I didn't speak a word in Spanish, and I didn't want to confuse people by saying I know Spanish now. Not the asshole. You don't have a future SIL problem, nor a future in-laws problem. You have a fiancé problem. He should be asking family to include you in conversations. He should be asking his sister to keep away from you with her cigarettes. He should have your back. He doesn't. Put this relationship on hold, at the very least. Reconsider it carefully. Not the asshole. But you seem to have a fiancé problem. So what if his sister asks him to spend the day with her? He, presumably, can say, no. Also, who cares if his sister says he should break up with you? Is he defending you? Making it clear that he won't entertain that kind of talk from his sister? What exactly is your fiancé doing about these issues? Why are you marrying into a family that hates you, to a man that won't stand up for you, and a language you don't seem to interested in learning? Edit to change vote because Op is learning Spanish. Not the asshole, Op. Get out of there. Not the asshole. Why does your fiancé let his family treat you this way? That's a huge red flag, and until he stands up for you I wouldn't be marrying him. Why do you want to marry him? His family doesn't like you. He doesn't defend you. Instead he translates all the insults for you and does nothing to stop all this drama. I don't understand how his sister and parents are your focus when the problem is your fiancé.